Hi everyone, this is Pepper Crochets. Welcome back to a new video. In this video, I'm going to be showing you guys how to make these puff flowers, which I turned into a little charm for my shoe. It's the perfect, quick and easy project. You can add the flowers to a crochet bag or a sweater, or you can make a little charm like this and add it to your summer sandals. So let's get started. To begin, we're going to grab our 3.25 millimeter hook, and for this tutorial I'm using a weight 3 yarn, but you can use any weight 3 or weight 4 yarn. You can do this with any type of yarn really, and any size hook. To start, we're going to make a slip knot. We're going to place the slip knot on our hook and tighten. Now we're going to do a chain up of 4. We're going to go back into that very first chain we made and do a slip stitch. So you're going to pull up a loop and pull it straight through to the other side. You can also do this by making a magic circle and chaining up 5. Now we're going to chain up 1, and in that center space right there, we're going to be adding 5 single crochets. This is going to be the number of petals that we're going to be doing. Since I decided to make cherry blossoms, I decided to do 5 petals, but you can do more or less if you'd like. There is the first single crochet, and now we're going to be adding 4 more single crochets into that same middle space. To do a single crochet, we pull up a loop and then we yarn over and pull through the 2 loops on our hook. We've completed our 5 single crochets for the petals. Now we're going to go into that very first single crochet that we did, that stitch right there. We're going to grab the front and the back loop, and we're going to be making a slip stitch to join the circle. Now we're going to get into the pattern for the petals. So you're going to start with a chain up of 2, and into that very same stitch we're going to be doing 4 unfinished double crochets. So you're going to yarn over, go into that very same stitch and pull up a loop. You want to pull it up a little bit high to the height of the petal. Then you're going to do it again. You're going to yarn over, pull up a loop, and pull up high. And we're going to do this for a total of 4 times. So yarn over, pull up a loop, and I like to stretch it up a little bit so it doesn't get too tight. Once we finish the 4, we're going to yarn over and pull through all of the loops on your hook. I like to wiggle my hook a little bit to try to get it through. Sometimes it gets caught, so just be careful and make sure you don't lose that end of the yarn. This is why we pull it up a little bit so it's not too tight. Okay, with that completed, we're going to make 1 chain to secure it and then chain up 2, so a total of 3 chains. Now we're going to go into that very next stitch and place a slip stitch. So you're going to pull up a loop and pull it all the way through to the other side. Once we finish this, we can push out our petal and shape it. So it should be a little bobble like this. And then we repeat the pattern. So we're going to chain 2 into that very same stitch where you did the slip stitch. We're going to do the 4 unfinished double crochets. So you're going to pull up a loop and you're going to pull it up high to make sure it's not too tight and the same height as the other petal. And we're going to do this 4 times. Here is the last unfinished double crochet. Once we finish, we're going to yarn over and we're going to pull through all of the loops on our hook, making sure to wiggle it a little bit to get it all the way through. Now we're going to do a chain up of 1 to secure and then a chain up of 2, so a total of 3 chains. And then we continue the pattern. We're going to go into that very next stitch and do a slip stitch. And once we do the slip stitch, we can push out our flower and shape it. So this is the pattern. It's just going to keep repeating for the next 3 stitches, or however many stitches or petals that you wanted to do. At the very end, you're just going to slip stitch that very last petal into the first chain that we did, and that will finish up your flower. Okay, we just finished our last and 5th petal, and then we're doing that chain up of 3, and I'm going to be placing my slip stitch right into that space, or back at the beginning, to complete the flower. Now I completed a total of 3 flowers. I actually end up doing 4, but I'll show that bit later. And for this part, we're just determining how we want our flowers to be placed. You want to do this before actually sewing it in, so it's the desired look. So I placed 2 on top, 1 on the bottom, like so. I figured out where I wanted to place the flower on the shoe. Now we're just going to flip it over so we can start sewing all those bits together. You see, I did not weave the ends in for the flower when I completed them. I simply did a small knot because I'm going to be using these loose ends here to connect the flowers together with my darning needle. Now you don't have to do it this way. You can weave in all your ends and then, you know, grab a new piece of yarn and put it on your needle and kind of sew it together that way, but this is just the way I did it. And I'm sewing them together in the way that I wanted to place it on my shoe. There isn't any rhyme or reason to the way I kind of put them together. I was just kind of putting my needle in and out using those loose strands and placing it into the shape that I wanted it to be. Once that was all sewn together, I then wove in all of these ends, and now we're going to work on making the chain or the little strap that's going to help attach this flower to our shoe. So we're going to start with a slip knot and make a chain to our desired length. You want to make sure you count how many chains you do, because we're going to do the same thing on the other side to make it even. Now we're going to be attaching the strap to the flower, so you want to find a spot on the back of this flower cluster and start doing slip stitches to attach the chain. And then you're going to be doing slip stitches across the back of the flower cluster here. You want to also have a general idea of how you want the flower cluster to look once it's attached to the shoe, so you know where to put the other side of the strap, if that makes sense. So I wanted the 2 flowers to be at the top of the shoe and the 1 flower to be on the bottom to make kind of like a triangular shape. So I'm placing the slip stitches across the 2 flowers there. And then to do the other side of the strap, you're just going to chain up the same amount that you did for the other side, make 1 extra chain and cut, and then you could pull the yarn through to secure it. And then from there, we're just going to cut off the excess bits of yarn with our scissors. So at the very end, I decided I want to add 1 more flower to the center of this triad cluster here. So I'm just going to show that real quick. I also didn't notice this until after, but I accidentally made 6 petals instead of 5, so I guess it's not really a cherry blossom anymore. But anyway, we're going to just use those loose strands and we're going to pull it through the center of this cluster here. Once I pull the loose ends through the middle, I just kind of shape it a little bit, move it around, and then I'll use my darning needle to weave in all the ends on the back side to secure that last flower to the other flowers. So here I'm just showing how I'm weaving in those ends to secure that center flower. Once that's done, this is what the final product should look like. Of course, everyone's flower clusters will look different. You can try experimenting with different textures of yarn and different colors. You can even do just loose flowers and attach them to different projects like a bag or a sweater. I think these puff flowers are just so cute, and they made such a cute little statement on my plain white shoes, and I just love it so much. So please let me know in the comment section below if you decide to try this flower cluster charm out. As usual, I'll be having a lot more tutorials on the way, so please subscribe to my channel. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!